Afrikaanse insetsel. Vanaand saam met ons het ons 'n spotprenttekenaar as ook 'n Twitter-aktivis, Jeremy Nell, maar moenie dat ek vir hom voorstel dat hy dit self doen. Jeremy, baie welkom by ons.
Hello. Are we doing the colonial thing here, or are we doing the native thing here?
Wat is die verskil tussen die colonial en die native ding? Ek weet jy identifiseer as 'n Brit, maar jy identifiseer ook as 'n swart man, so hoe werk dit?
En Afrikaans.
En Afrikaans.
Ek is alles.
Vir die mense wat nou nie vir jou so goed ken nie. Ek net gou net check jy lyk baie erg finally ongoed nou. Dit is nou die tyd, dit klink vir my alles is reg. Vir die mense wat nou nie vir jou so great ken nie, of nou nie vir jou goed is, wie presies is Jim? Wie is jy in die sosiale media sfeer en hoe die algemeen?
Well, hang on. Firstly, what's happening here? Are we speaking different languages? Are we speaking English, Afrikaans, or what?
Die ding is, my livestream in die middel van die week is gewoonlik in Afrikaans, en die show se naam is Onbeskaamd Afrikaans. As jy nie wou Afrikaans praat nie, is dit fyn, ek meen, maar soos ek het vir my gehoor beloof, my week livestream is in Afrikaans, so jy kan sê, jy Afrikaans vir jou getrou projek, so jy kan sê Afrikaans verstaan.
Ja, maar sê Afrikaans, ek is Engels. Ek is 'n Brit.
Ek vind eintlik dit sal baie gaaf wees as jy kan Afrikaans praat vanaand, want jy kan nie sommer net Afrikaans praat om trou en dink jy gaan nie Afrikaanse bachelors hê nie. Hierdie is jou vuurdoel.
Bulsfontein, baby.
Ek het nie eens my glasie water saamgebring nie. Kyk hoe Jeremy kom ons skryf sommer oor direk na my vraag. My eerste vraag is daar was 'n sekere video gewees waar jy gesê het jy het 'n obsessie met 'n 16-jarige dogter. Nou wie is die 16-jarige dogter en hoekom het jy 'n obsessie oor haar? Dis 'n bietjie vreemd.
Greta Thunberg.
Ja.
Everybody has an obsession with her. Millions of people do, mate. Haven't you seen? She's all the rage.
Ek het glad nie 'n obsessie met haar nie. Soos ek het haar videoetjie gesien op Twitter en ek het eerlikwaar ek het die eerste helfte gekyk en dit vir my na 'n leftist ding gelyk en ek het aangeskuif. Ek meen, ek weet nie hoekom kan die ander mense nie aanskuif nie.
Hang on, everyone's saying that they can't hear anything. Oh, now they can. Okay, there we go. Guys, turn down the video quality. Audio sucks. Can't hear a thing. Sort out audio.
Oh no.
Finally, the sound is on.
Ek het nou agtergekom jou mic levels was 'n bietjie hard geweest, myne dalk ook. Dalk het dit 'n bietjie gedistort. Kom ons hoop dit gaan so aan. Kom ons check gou in die comments.
Okay. Guys, sorry. I just want to apologize for being late. It is my fault. Those of you, or some of you might know my wife's a vet, so I had to rush out to help her with an emergency. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. The question was something about 16-year-olds. Well, it was about Greta Thunberg and millions of people like her.
Nou, hoekom maak die mense so 'n groot ding oor Greta Thunberg? Ek meen, soos ek dink jy het laas keer genoem dat dis glo die wêreld se grootste platform en sy beïnvloed, jy weet, decision makers reg oor die wêreld. Maar dink jy nie daai decision makers in daai magsposisies, hulle kan deur hierdie hele sham sien van Greta Thunberg nie? Ek dink die mense worry heeltemal te veel oor haar.
Yeah, I agree. But remember, she did speak on a platform provided to her by the United Nations. And that isn't a joke, because that there is being listened to by millions of people, including world leaders.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a big deal. It's not just some random 16-year-old girl talking to the world.
No,
So, in other words, it makes a big difference in what she says and how she says it. And the fact is that she's hysterical, and people are buying into her nonsense. And it's not even her nonsense; it's written for her.
Ja, dit was 'n baie emosionele toespraak geweest. Net heeltemal saam met jou. Mens kan duidelik sien, dit is nie kom nie uit 'n kind se gedagte. Dit is heelwat binne George Soros se gedagte. Een van sy mense wat vir haar geskryf het.
Yeah, George Soros was one of her funders. I think her funding was something to the tune of $24 million.
Oh wow.
Not just George Soros, but also U2, and Coca-Cola and Google.
Oh wow, big man sponsors.
Yeah.
Ek is nog eens so vir,
By the way, sorry, I wanted to stop you there. I wanted to tell you that you are so 90s right now with your Nirvana t-shirt.
ek is 'n 90s boy en ek is 'n groot Kurt Cobain en Nirvana liefhebber tot die dag toe en ek dink jy's een wat so 'n bietjie geblyk en gekleed kan nie so moeilik sien. Daai is die regte tipe Nirvana t-shirt om te dra.
Well, listen, Nirvana was a great band. They weren't my favorite in the 90s, but I also wasn't into that whole Pearl Jam grunge thing that was going on. I was more into the punk rock stuff.
Oh, okay, dan jy's meer van die Offspring en Green Day byvoorbeeld.
Sort of. NoFX, Ramones, Sex Pistols,
Okay,
Black Flag.
ons kan miskien later 'n bietjie meer oor musiek gesels as er nog genoeg tyd is in die einde. Dan grappie wat jy baie gemaak het, jy is baie lief vir satire, ons almal weet dit. En vooraf het jy my video gehou ten minste.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was very, very funny.
Ek het ook gedink dis een van my beter werke daai. Nou maar 'n grappie wat jy baie maak, 'n satirical grappie, is dat jy 'n swart man is, maar hoekom maak jy daai grappie?
Look at me. I'm very dark skinned, and if I grew a beard, I'll be confused as an Arab. Actually, in fact, when we went on honeymoon, we went to Europe, and my wife was making jokes that I'm going to get stopped at Heathrow, get racially profiled.
Jou Tommy Round op nak is ons eintlik Arab.
Yeah, he's French.
French. 'n Frans Arabier. Die ding is, ek het gedog, toe jy praat van jy is 'n swart man, dat jy weer een van my idees gesteel het. Want ek sit en dink baie, as ek op 'n aansoekvorm of, jy weet, as ek op 'n staatswerk gaan aansoek doen, wat gaan hulle maak as ek daar my ras neersit as native black? Hoe gaan hulle verkeerd bewys? Gaan hulle pinkeltest doen of wat presies gaan hulle maak? Ek wil nog 'n BEE punt hê.
I think that is a fantastic idea, actually. I honestly think that people need to troll the system.
Ja,
Everybody needs to write down what they are not. Hey?
wel, ek dink nie almal sal op 'n klim nie. Ek dink dit is meer net, jy weet, wit mense wat daar sal klim om te sê hulle is swart, want die ding is, daar bestaan volgens my iets soos black privilege op die oomblik in die land, met jy kry jou tenders en jy kry jou alles.
Yeah. Sorry, man. The one guy saying that every time you go to the split screen, the sound is quite bad. Like switch off the split screen every time.
Ek sal dit dan op Jeremy los, hier op jou, dan kan ons net jou mooi gesiggetjie sien.
Is dit reg so?
Kom ons kyk eens op mense, is julle happy as hulle net vir Jeremy sien?
Mense, is dit reg so?
Dan gaan ek dit nou hierso los.
I'll say that's better. Okay, it's your split screen.
I still have a few kinks to sort out, you know. Everything isn't perfect, but it's getting better by the day.
No worries.
So,
I'm not in a rush. So I'm not in a rush. So I will give you. Don't worry. I'm not gonna run away. So, let's go back to your comment or your question. You're saying, oh yeah, we're talking about trolling the system. I honestly think, man, that people in large numbers should troll the system because I think it's ridiculous. I understand the reasoning behind why you need to put down your race and gender for companies.
yeah.
No, I beg your pardon, for the government, because they want to obviously, build databases. But for companies, when you're applying for a job, that makes no sense to me. And it clearly is very racist, politicized nonsense.
Wel, die rede hoekom maatskappye daarvoor vra is, as hulle besigheid met die staat wil doen, moet hulle BEE scorecards invul. En om die BEE scorecards in te vul, moet jy weet wat se ras jou mense is.
Yeah. And that's, that's not at all racist, is it?
Die ding is, ek dink actually, as ons vir ons baas ook loop vra, hoor hierso, kan jy vir ons almal herregistreer as swart is, en dan maak nie saak hoe die demografie dan lyk nie, hulle gaan dan volpunte BEE kry, so almal kan baat van daaruit.
I want to ask you a question, may I?
Dit hang af hoe persoonlik dit is. Ek is redelik oop om alles te beantwoord. Jy weet, net as dit bietjie te erg is.
Well, okay. We'll ease into
Well,
it then.
ease into it then.
We'll ease into it. Yes, we won't do it just yet. We'll chat about it just now. My questions to you. I'll carry on with your questions to me. I had your questions in front of me. I've lost them now.
Ja, ek het soos ek sê, ek probeer dinge beter doen. Ek stuur vir die mense vooruit die vrae. Ek probeer niemand uitvang, jy weet, of sleg laat lyk op kamera nie. En mense moet tog nie te veel die videoetjie wat ek gemaak het te ernstig vat nie. Die ding is
It's fine.
Daar's twee ouens wat ek gesien het die video ernstig gevat. En een van hulle is Ronaldo Gous wat duidelik nie 'n sin vir humor het nie. En dan was daar een ander ouetjie gewees. En verder dan het almal net gelag en gesê okay, dis awesome whatever. Ons sien uit na die show toe. Nou,
no, I love it, man. I love it. In fact, I want a copy of the video you made. I want to promote your channel just somewhere because it was such a great video.
For sure, I'll send you a high-res copy.
Yeah, there we go.
Nou, nog 'n ding wat in die video gebeur het is, jy het gepraat oor die gays van Ventersdorp. Nou, wat is jou probleem met gays van Ventersdorp? Is dit omdat hulle gay is of omdat hulle van Ventersdorp af is?
From Ventersdorp.
Who
wants to live in Ventersdorp?
Ek het geen idee, ek was nog nooit daar gewees. Was jy al daar gewees?
Yeah, I was there.
Wat?
It's a dump. I went to visit Oom Eugene's house.
Oom Eugene. Eugene ter Blanche. Is hy van Ventersdorp?
Ja.
Okay, so jy hou nie van die mense van Ventersdorp nie omdat Eugene ter Blanche in Ventersdorp gebly het?
No, just the town. Just the town. It's the middle of nowhere.
Okay, so daar's basies niks om te doen hier. Dis 'n bietjie droog na jou sin.
No, it's nothing to do there.
Okay.
It's a dump, man.
Ek is oorspronklik van 'n klein dorpie af en ek geniet actually die stilte en om 'n bietjie alleen gelos te word. Ek hou nie van baie mense, die hustle en die bustle van die stad raak 'n bietjie baie partykeer.
But also just to tell you, I'm very homophobic. I don't like gay people.
Hoekom hou jy nie van gay mense nie?
Well, apparently this is what the media says, that I'm homophobic and I'm also racist and I'm sexist. I'm Islamophobic, so I'm all those things. So, hey, listen, if people are going to continue labeling you stuff, you might as well own it.
Die ding is, jy het al baie van my gesê dat die media label jou sis en die media label jou so, maar ek sien dit actually nie so. Wanneer laas het die media so iets aan jou gedoen? Kan jy vir my 'n voorbeeld gee?
Ja, Citizen.
Citizen, hoe lank terug was dit gewees?
It was a few months ago. I actually don't remember now. It was a few months ago. It wasn't actually, they didn't call me homophobic, thankfully. It was more to do with, I think, being a white supremacist is the usual line these days.
Is dit daai stukkie saam met die wat gegaan het saam met die Willem Petzer se Pofadderpit Discord server?
That was one of them, but there was another story after that. I think it had to do with Pumzile van Dam, but I can't quite remember now.
Maar dan ook weer ons almal weet hoe rapporteer die Citizen so ek dink jy hoef te
They're very accurate. Yeah, no, they're excellent, yeah.
Ek dink jy hoef te veel oor hulle te worry nie. Okay. Jy praat baie van jou principles as ons 'n Jeremy Wolfe show kyk, is heeltyd principles die kant en principles daai kant. Wat presies is jou beginsels? Jou grondbeginsels as jy dit kan opsom?
I think, let me answer it like this. Let me create some context. So I've been drawing professionally for 15 years, and for the brunt of my career, up until about 2016, I think I wasn't a very principled cartoonist. I mean, I sort of was, but and I'll explain what I mean by that. I didn't want to choose a side for a particular issue. I wanted to remain as middle or neutral grounded as possible. And as a result, that kind of left me feeling a bit empty, just on a very personal level. And in 2016, I had a kind of a Damascus moment when I was living in Mossel Bay for a year, and living on the coast in a sort of small town mentality, and I really started challenging myself on the way I view the world and the way I see things. And I decided towards the end of 2016 that I didn't want to any longer be in the middle, sit on the fence, try and see both sides. I wanted to take a
Yeah.
stand, and feel convicted by certain things and draw and present my work in a way that represents those convictions. And so that's what I mean when I say principles or values. And listen, even if my values are not the same as yours, if you've got a set of values and I've got a set of values, um, that's better than having no values. You know what I mean? Even if they're different, as long as you can as long as you can base your life's decisions or your choices on a set of values, that's at least you're grounded. And then we can talk about our differences in values. But if you've got no values, you're just floating. And I think that's a pretty dangerous place to be.
Jy praat so van as jy nie waardes het nie, dan float jy so half. Dit ek persoonlik elke keer as ek vir 'n gas vra, 'n vraag vra, dan vra ek vir myself ook daardie vraag af. Nou as ek vir myself vra, wat is my beginsels? Ek het nie regtig grondbeginsels nie. Die ding is ek kan definieer tussen reg en verkeerd. En goed wat vir my
Ja,
sin maak en nie sin maak nie. En
ja.
dit is hoe ek keuses maak en hoe ek redeneer en so
Yeah, but that's based on values. Right and wrong are value based choices. If you decide something's right or you decide something's wrong, that's a moral judgment, and that's based upon a set of values that you hold deep down inside of you somewhere.
okay, fair enough, valid point. Nou, by die hoofonderwerp,
Oh, there we go.
kulturele identiteit. As wat identifiseer jy? 'n
This
Swart man,
is
'n Anglo-Afrikaner, 'n Afrikaner, wat is Jim?
Hang on.
Sluk, bro.
I need a sip of my Brunners, and I drink it. I drink it neat. Well, a little bit of ice, but I don't mix it with Coke. So does that make me English or Afrikaans? I don't know. Um,
Ek weet nie, die meeste van my Afrikaanse pille drink om met Coke, jy weet. Maar ek dink
yeah,
as jy 'n bord kry van Buffelsfontein brandewyn af, dan moet jy seker Afrikaans wees. Maar jy weet, ek het nou die dag jy het met 'n jong man van Oranje gepraat. Toe was jy weet baie
wie? Jy?
jy.
Wie?
Jy
O, Sorrel.
dit kan seker Sarel wees. Dis 'n jong ouetjie so 'n rooi koppie. Maar in elk geval, jy was baie prompt geweest om te sê jy glo ek gaan vir jou verbatim lees wat jy gesê het.
Asseblief, ja. Ja.
I've got too much of a history that is not Afrikaans to integrate. I've got my own British colonial history also, which I wouldn't want to just leave behind. He posed the question to you: do you think you will be able to integrate into Orania?
Whoa,
Yes, there we go.
just straight on. No, I wouldn't be able to integrate because you've asked a real gem of a question. I can't identify or I can't align myself with a particular cultural identity because, well, my mom's English and my dad's Afrikaans. Van my van is Nell.
Ja.
Right? But because I'm a half breed, I've grown up obviously mother tongue, so I've grown up with a strong English influence, but I also understand my Afrikaans heritage. So it's difficult for me to become to adopt Afrikaans culture or to adopt English culture, whatever that might mean, because I don't know what that means in South Africa anymore. But I absolutely endorse and respect other people to adopt and to cherish and to try and preserve their heritage, their culture. I love Zulu culture. I love Afrikaans culture. I love whatever it might be. As long as people are passionate about it and they love it, it doesn't mean they hate other culture. If you love Afrikaans culture and want to preserve it, it doesn't mean you hate Zulu culture. It doesn't mean you hate black people. It doesn't mean you're a racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very stupid thinking of people to think that, oh, because Steve Hofmeyr loves Afrikaans heritage, he therefore hates black people. It's ridiculous logic. It just means that he loves his own. It just means that I love my own, whatever that might be. It means that you love your own. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. Does that make sense?
soos wat Julius Malema gesê het, I don't hate white people, I just love black people.
Excepting, I think he's lying in that sense because of the kind of rhetoric that he speaks. I think he speaks with a forked
Ja,
tongue.
ja, for sure, daarmee sal ek nie met jou kan stry nie.
Hang on, I'm having a problem here. Everybody was expecting us to have a fight, and we're not. So let's fight about something.
Okay,
This is very boring.
okay, hoekom het jou voorvaders ons mense laat vrek in die konsentrasiekampe?
Well, hang on. Let me bring out the big guns. Apartheid, Britain's bastard child. You see, this is more about British history than it is about Afrikaans history. But a lot of people think that Afrikaners are to blame for apartheid. Well, the British created apartheid and the Afrikaners perfected it. Can we agree on that?
Ons het dit sterker ge-enforce. Ek moet nou daai boek wat jy daar Britain's Bastard Child, dit is mos Dr. Mulder, Pieter Mulder se boek, is korrek?
Yeah. Helen Opperman Lewis.
Ek is nie 'n baie groot leser nie, maar ek wil actually begine lees en daai is een van die boeke op my lysie. Miskien eendag wanneer ek superchats kan aansit, kan die mense vir my donasies gee, ek vir my kan boeke koop. Ek sien hulle gaan so vir R300 'n stuk.
You can also get Kindle, which is a bit cheaper, I think, the books.
So all of these latest releases, like Kill the Boer, for example, will be on Kindle.
Ooh, no, I don't think that's on Kindle. I don't know actually. I've got the actual book, but I don't know if it's available on Kindle.
Jy's mos deesdae dik in hierso by Afriforum en die Vryheidsfront Plus se mense wat kry jy van die boeke en stuff daar by hulle.
Yeah.
As jy gekry het, moes jy vir my 'n kopie georganiseer.
I don't like freebies.
Ek like freebies.
Yeah. I don't like freebies. I like to pay people for their work. That's the greedy capitalist part of me coming through.
Kyk, so om terug te kom by die kulturele identiteit. Die probleem wat ek sien in die land huidiglik is dat jy weet meeste van veral die blankes is groot op liberalisme en individualisme. En jy's ook 'n groot individualist, korrek?
I've changed a bit since 2016. I think in maybe 2016, 2017, I was a strong individualist. I have slightly moved away from that. A lot of people misrepresent me. They call me libertarian or classical liberal. I'm not really. I'm sort of am, but I think I'm more of a reactionary than anything else. I don't really buy into full individualism, and let me tell you why. If someone close to me is in trouble, I'll take a bullet for them, and that kind of debunks my own concept of being a strict individual. The fact that I'm putting maybe a close family member or a very close friend first.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I'm also a very strong believer of the family unit. I'm a very strong believer of tradition. I think tradition is very important.
Yeah.
I think culture is very important. I would hate. Let me put it like this. I wouldn't support McDonald's trying to open a branch in Zululand if the general population there didn't want it. Even if it made food cheaper, if the general population they preferred their traditional food and didn't want that to be commercialized, I would support that. I think that's a great thing.
Ek dink ook dat dit kan dalk gemeenskappe help, veral plaaslike gemeenskappe. Nou die ding wat ek eintlik wou uitgekom het by die kulturele identiteit is, dit is baie maklik vir collectivists soos die EFF byvoorbeeld om dit uit te byt, jy weet, en net te sê, hoor hierdie klomp individualiste, hulle is wit mense en hulle het ons grond, hulle het van ons gevat en ons moet dit gaan afvat. En ons kan nie terugslaan nie, omdat ons nie as 'n groep identifiseer nie. Nou binne in die Afrikaner volk, ek weet Wynand Boshoff het amper in sy uit sy stoel uitgeval toe ek gepraat het van 'n subvolk, maar ek dink hy het my verkeerd verstaan. Binne in die subvolk, like a sub-tribe.
A subculture, a sub-tribe, okay.
So byvoorbeeld mens kry die Afrikaner. Maar jy kry die jy kry die Kaapse Afrikaner, jy kry die boer Afrikaner, jy kry die Bolandse Afrikaner, jy kry die Namakolandse Afrikaner. Kan Engelse mense nie identifiseer as Anglo-Afrikaners nie?
Ooh. Sure. I've never thought about
Nie
that.
dat jy die spokesperson is vir alle Souties nie, jy weet, maar I'm just putting it out there, you know.
I'm not a spokesman for Soties. A lot of Soties hate me.
Ek sal jou glo.
Let me think about that. Let's come back to that question. I want to give that some thought. That's a great question. I've never considered that.
Daai was actually my peak gewees van my livestream. Anderster as daai het ek nie veel vrae nie.
It's all downhill from here.
Jebo. Kyk eens, ons kan so 'n klein bietjie aanskuif. Jy het vir
Let's come back to that. Yeah, I want to come back to that. That's a great question. I want to make a note of that. Let's come back to that in a few minutes.
Jy was kyk so ek wil graag my gesig ook opsit man. Ek wil graag hierdie sound uitsort. Ek gaan vir ons
okay.
Ek gaan vir ons side by side sit. Ek moet net my
Yeah, please man. I'm bored of looking at myself.
Ek gaan ons albei se volume 'n bietjie afdraai. Hoopelik werk dit. Kyk eens hoe mense kan julle distort my klank nog steeds.
Well, you sound fine to me.
Because it's working, Chad Blighnet said. That sounds good so far.
It's working good so far.
Hy's nou fine op split screen. Okay, flipping awesome.
Listen, there are some very lekker questions in the comments,
ons kan so 'n paar doen. Gryp daar een waarvan jy hou.
Okay, well, I don't want to go to that concentration camp one. That's a bit rough. Do you guys believe multi-ethnic societies can succeed? Okay, that's a great question. I'd like to look at that one. I think that when you say multi-ethnic, I'm also wondering if that's another way of saying multicultural. I'm going to assume that it means also multicultural, since the two are linked. I've got to be careful how I answer this, because on the one, it's a yes or no answer. I think that forced. Okay, hear what I'm saying, guys, please, because I know someone's gonna take this clip, they're gonna cut it out, and they're gonna post it to social media and say this is what Germ said. Then they're gonna leave out everything that's on the other side of it. I think that forced multiculturalism does not succeed in pretty much any instance. Okay, and the reason for that is because anything that's to do with coercion tends to have negative after effects. I think if it's organic, it can work, okay? But if you try and force people who are very different to integrate, they're going to end up fighting. Let me give you an example. If I choose to go on a tour bus with 20 other people from different countries, and all 21 of us speak different languages, we are very multicultural, but we're going to have a very, very lousy time because not one of us can understand the other one. Okay? But remember, I chose to do that, so it's very unlikely that there's going to be a huge amount of conflict. However, if we are forced to integrate and forced to get on, it's going to be very difficult because we don't understand one another's backgrounds. And that makes a very big difference in today's society. That's my opinion. Now, watch somebody take that piece and put it out of context at some point.
My idee van multiculturalisme. Ek het seker vir 10 jaar in die Kaap self gebly. En alhoewel ek dink die blankes en die kleurlinge in die Kaap, ek weet nie of mense moet sê dis as kleurlinge of breinmense. Ek weet nie wat een ook al die politically correct term is, ek het daai gebruik. Maar weet, volgens my kom die kulture, jy weet, redelik goed oor die weg. Ons is nog steeds gesegregate. Want ek meen jy kleurling areas en jy het blanke areas. Ek meen
there's nothing wrong with segregation if it's organic.
Almal weet die boere bly in Brackenfell. Dis nou maar net hoe dit is, jy weet. En ek weet die Colours bly in Ravensmead en daar in die southern suburbs, by Cape Flats. Dis nou maar net hoe dit is, maar ons kom saam by die werksplek en ons kom volgens my redelik goed oor die weg. So ek dink in daai sin kan ek prakties sien dat dit kan werk. Maar as ek na die
That's not really multiculturalism, is it? Or is it?
Die ding is ons kulture is baie dieselfde, jy weet, as in meeste van dit is gebaseer op Christenwaarde alhoewel daar ook 'n groot Islamiese beweging in die Kaap is en ek het saam met baie Islamiete gewerk en dis fucking great ouens, jy weet. Ek het lekker met hulle oor die weg gekom. Dit lief vir kakpraat en so aan. En ek het nie 'n probleem met 'n Islamiet glad nie, want ek het 'n paar geleer ken, dis actually great ouens. So ek voel nog steeds dat as mense dit reg.
And I mean both of you like kosher meat.
Both of us like kosher meat. Dus sê ek is 'n Jood of wat?
Well spotted.
Ek is nie altyd so skerp in my ek het vandag mooi nugter gebly spesiaal vir hierdie livestream.
That actually just was a joke about the kosher. But we must censor that, or otherwise your video is going to get demonetized.
Die ding is, ek het al so baie mense kak gegee wat antisemitic is op veral my video's of my Discord wat ek al as hulle my regtig wil klap vir daai een, dan moet hulle my nou maar klap, ek meen. So ek is
Okay.
ek is bitter erg teen ouens wat heeltyd wil kom sê daar's een of ander Jewish conspiracy om die wêreld op te vat. Vir my is dit so swak redenasie, want aan die een kant sê hulle die Jode is besig om die wêreld te beheer en hulle is besig om oorlog te saai tussen die mense en die bewyse daarvoor is omdat daar so baie Jode in magsposisies is. Jode het baie geld. Maar as jy nou daai selfde redenasie toepas, oor die algemeen het blanke mense baie meer geld en baie meer mag as swart mense. Beteken dit nou ons stook swart mense teen mekaar op net omdat ons on average 'n bietjie ryker is? Nee, dit doen nie. So hoekom moet dit vir die Jode dan ook waar wees?
Yeah, I mean exactly. Look, there aren't that many Jews globally anyway. So it's one hell of a good conspiracy if they are all conspiring against the rest of the world, in which case I want to become a Jew because I wouldn't mind getting into those top positions.
Ja.
But I mean, I don't get this whole anti-Jewish thing. I really don't.
Ek het al van die manne geluister, maar 'n constant theme tussen daai ouens is hulle is baie anonymous. Hulle is baie edgy. Hulle is gewoonlik baie rassisties ook. En dit is nie, jy weet, mense wat jy saam met jou saam in jou Discord so ek wil nie eers 'n debat met hulle voer nie. Ek het nie tyd of lus vir die bliksems nie.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. But I saw there was a nice comment that came up saying, how was the Joburg trip? And I have no idea what that means, but I was in Joburg last week. By the way, Klipkop, where are you located?
Ek is in die Weskus, Weskaap.
Weskus?
Ja.
Are you outside of Cape Town?
Ja.
Oh, okay. You won't say live, but you'll tell me afterwards because I wanna come have a drink with you.
Nee, ek is dit is al klaar public information. Ek is in Langebaan. Hier waar al die rassiste bly wat een van die
You're in Langebaan.
Een van die Eben Etzebeth crew, jy weet. Al die rassiste in Langebaan.
Oh. Yeah, I love that place. Okay, all right. I'll come meet you for lunch quite soon.
For sure. Kom ons doen daai.
We'll do that. What's that little place that's on the beachfront? That where you get great pizza.
Driftwood?
One next door to that, I think it is.
Ek is nie so 'n groot kuiergat meer nie. So al wat ek weet is Driftwood is gewoonlik die spot waartoe almal gaan, maar Driftwood het afgebrand so 'n paar maande terug.
Then we won't go there.
Oh my god, so ek moet gou so 'n bietjie sidetrack. Die Driftwood het afgebrand,
Okay.
maar dis so half jy weet 'n monument in Langebaan. Hierdie Driftwoods restaurant want is deel van Langebaan se identiteit. En toe Driftwoods nou afbrand, die mense in die Facebook groepe het absoluut mal gegaan en dit is so erg. Toe was daar 'n trill wat gekom het toe nou skryf hy met die heading 'n Driftwood special met 'n stuk gebrande toast onder dit. En die mense het afgegaan op hom. Maar gelukkig die eienaar van Driftwoods het gesê, hoor hierso mense, hy verstaan dis 'n grap. Ek moenie worry nie. It's funny though.
Was it an accident?
Ek is nie heeltemal seker presies wat gebeur het, maar dit is ek het nêrens stories gehoor van dit is opsetlik gedoen nie. Glo iets met gas wat nie ordentlik toe was of so iets in.
Sure.
Maar nou ja,
Someone was asking me about my trip in Joburg. Guys, does that really matter? We're not here to talk about my trip in Joburg. Sorry, we're here to chat about Klipkop's conversation, and I'm more interested in that.
die Purple Cows. Jy is 'n verskriklike groot kapitalis. Wat het jou gemaak buite aan die Purple Cows? Want ek kon nog nooit buite aan hulle nie.
I didn't vote for them. I just promoted them because I thought that they were a great alternative. Look, we do. Okay, again, let's provide some context here. So South Africa is heading left, and this is not a good thing. All right, over 90% of the South African Parliament is left-leaning, is socialist-leaning.
Agreed.
And at this stage, anything that is right-leaning is very, very important. We definitely need some conservative sway in Parliament to try and slow down this implosion that left-leaning politicians always bring about. So the Capitalist Party is not necessarily right-leaning, but they're certainly not left-leaning. And I think that a vote for any party that is not left-leaning at this stage is a very good vote. So let it be the Purple Cow or the Freedom Front, or I'm even guessing the Cape Party, because I don't think they're particularly left-leaning. I did promote the Purple Cow though, because I do like a lot of what they say. I mean, I love the fact that a gun license should be to the person and not to the weapon. I mean, I've got a car license. I can own 5 cars with 1 license. So why can't I own 5 guns with 1 license? You know what I mean?
Ja, ek is nou jy so praat van gewere. Ek is nie 'n groot gewere liefhebber nie, maar jy kan my storie klaarmaak.
Do you go hunting? Do you go hunting?
Ek het toe ek nog op laerskool was, het ek was ek al met 'n .22 in die veld gewees en ek het so 'n paar tarantale geskiet.
With the tutu. What did you do? Did you throw your gun at them?
Nee, ek het hulle geskiet. Wat maak jy met 'n .22? Skiet hom.
It's such a small caliber.
Maar basies dit is hoe ver ek al geskiet het, jy weet.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good enough.
Maar
I mean, listen, everybody should shoot a gun, I think.
Kyk hierso, ek het nie 'n probleem met ander mense wat jy weet so tot gewere op hulle dra in die straat nie. Inteendeel, ek dink ek sal veiliger voel in 'n gemeenskap waar ek weet daar is 'n klomp mense wat geweerlisensies het en hulle is ook jy weet ordentlik gelisensieer. Hulle het hulle competency ordentlik gedoen. Maar ek het nou veral nou die dag op carte blanche stuk gedink gesien van hierdie competency tests wat jy weet heeltemal 'n sham is. Wat hulle gee basies net lisensies uit vir mense. Nou daarmee het ek ook 'n probleem. As die lisensieringsproses so gaan wees dat hulle 'n sekere groep mense net laat deurlaat sommer omdat hulle wil. Dan wil ek nie hê dat mense moet gewere dra op straat nie. Maar as ek weet die lisensies word legitimately verkry, dan sal ek dit ondersteun. So ek is so half 50-50 op die storie op die oomblik.
Yeah, but the problem is that you watched Carte Blanche.
Dit is seker die ding, né?
Look, at the end of the day, Klipkop, the stats still speak for themselves. Okay, so South Africa has got what I think 2 million odd legal gun owners. The overwhelming majority of gun crime does not come from legal gun owners. It comes from illegal gun owners. It comes from the black market, and it comes from the police.
Yeah.
The problem, first and foremost, is that it's not legal gun owners. It's not people defending themselves. It's not people going hunting. It is criminals getting guns illegally. I mean, when you hear about robberies with AK-47s, you can't really own an AK-47, or you can, and it's a great gun to shoot. But the guns that they're using are generally speaking automatic, not semi.
Yeah.
And you can't legally own an automatic gun in South Africa. You know, that's all black market stuff. And the problem lies there. The fact is that the SAPS loses thousands of guns a year. It's a big problem.
Die ander probleem wat ek het met 'n geweer, hoekom ek persoonlik ook nie 'n geweer wil dra nie. is daar was een verskriklike video gewees. Ek weet nie of dit SAPS was of of twee sekuriteitswagte gewees nie, waar daar rowers gekom het en hulle albei deur die kop geskiet het om hulle gewere te steel spesifiek. So om 'n geweer te dra maak jy spesifieke teiken, want hulle wil juis jou gewere kom beroof. Soos byvoorbeeld wat die groot verskoning is by plaasmoorde. Ja, hulle die hele boersfamilie uitgewis omdat hulle die gewere wou gekom steel het.
Yeah, but farm murders are not okay. I don't know. Is this what time is it? Is it the right time to speak about farm murders?
Always,
have I had enough to drink?
Always the right time to speak about farm murders.
Have I had enough to drink? My glass is empty, and I want to get more brandy, but I don't want to leave you hanging. All right.
Okay, so how
So
about you pour yourself a brandy? I'm going to put like a little video on for the viewers, and we give each other 1 minute. I'll come back with a beer. You come back with a brandy.
give me 60 seconds, guys. I'll be back in a sec.
3, 2, 1, go. Daar is hy mense. Kom ons wag vir Jeremy om terug te kom met sy Buffelsfontein brandewyn.
Right. Are you back?
Ek is terug. En ons is live ook.
Lekker. Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. And also, thank you, guys, for the patience, because he asked a very hectic question, and I needed to fill up my drink.
Cheers.
By the way, yeah, cheers. Gesondheid. I just want to say, guys, if you haven't, and I'm just doing a quick plug, just because I honestly want this brand to grow. This is Buffelsfontein. I was at their restaurant last week, and it is one of the best restaurants I've been to in the country. The greatest vibe
Sê my
ever.
nou eerlik, dis 'n word jy geborg deur hulle?
I'm sorry, my sound broke up. Say it
Word
again.
jy geborg deur Buffelsfontein brandewyn?
Geborg. Sponsor, ja.
Ek moet seker maak. Kry vir my ook 'n sponsorship man. Wie is die ou met wie ek moet praat?
Meyer.
Meyer.
Meyer Leroux, ja.
Ek gaan vir Meyer moet kontak.
Ja.
Kyk so die oh ja.
But I wasn't plugging it because he's a sponsor. I'm plugging it because it's actually very good
Ek
branding.
sien Ernst Roots plak dit ook op Twitter. Maar anyway, so plaasmoorde. Ons sien hom op brandewyn te gesels hè.
Okay. All right, let's. Oh, okay. Let's start here. Okay. When in this is my opinion, okay, because this can only be an opinion because I don't think most people know exactly why the farm murders are occurring, although I think we can speculate, and I think we can speculate fairly accurately, but it's very difficult to prove. Okay, so I don't think there's a conspiracy. I don't think there's some sort of central headquarters that is training farm murderers, okay? But I do think that there is a culture of anti-farmer, right? And I do think that it stems from a history of, shall we say, apartheid. It might be lousy farming practices. I don't know. From my understanding, a lot of farmers do treat their workers very well, in fact. But there definitely is a hatred that simmers in that underground.
Yeah, and it's indoctrinated.
Yeah, and it spreads. And in the same way that you get people thinking that it's fine to hijack cars or you think it's fine to steal land because land was stolen back in the day. It's fine to have your revenge on farmers for atrocities that might have occurred to your family or indirect family decades ago. So I do think that there is some sort of underlying hatred for all things farming in South Africa, particularly if the farmers are white. However, do know that black farmers get attacked, and so it's not necessarily um, Afrikaans or white related, but it might also be farmer related. But I do think that the first and foremost point is white and Afrikaans. Um, that is my opinion, and I cannot prove it. But the data does show that there's something wrong with the attacks that tend to happen. They're not generally random
Ja.
attacks. They tend to be well timed, and they're not always about money or guns in the safe. That tends to be a byproduct. Often the farm attacks are extremely
Ja.
violent. I mean, that one case of the woman being drilled with a, I mean, not drilled. Yeah, the one woman was drilled with a drill. The other one was blowtorched. That there is just a hate crime. That there is absolute unadulterated hatred. Um, that's not going in to steal money and then run. That's there to really cause harm. So when you look at the nature of the farm attacks, there's something very wrong. I just don't know what that is, and I think that we'll always struggle to know. That's my opinion.
Ek wil redelik met jou daarso saamstem is dat daar is 'n groot faktor van normal criminality soos hulle dit noem. Dis 'n maar die retoriek wat van die staat af kom en dit as ook van spesifiek plase was 'n teiken gewees die gedurende die liberation struggle en jy weet daai saam met die staatsretoriek van hoe hulle weet mense van die plaas vilify. Nou gaan jy
Ja,
in om iets te steel byvoorbeeld, maar omdat hy daai indoctrinated hate het teenoor boere. Dink jy wag dit gaan nie 'n diefstal sommer wees nie. Kom ons maak die boer vrek en verkrag sy vrou en sy dogter ook, jy weet, tussen dit is dit maak dat die gewone normal criminality oorgaan in daai tipe hate crimes in. Nou ek weet wie's die premier van Gauteng, ek dink is Makahura.
ja,
Hy het in sy toespraak in die parlement aan die begin van die jaar het hy gesê dat plaasmoorde gaan 'n prioriteit wees spesifiek in Gauteng. En ek was byvoorbeeld verheug oor gewees. Ek het dit oral geshare op social media ensovoorts. En na dit gebeur het ek absoluut nog niks van hulle kant af gehoor nie. Niks het gebeur nie en ek was bang dit is net droë woord.
wie?
Van
Wie?
Gauteng, David Makura.
O, ja.
En nadat hy daai belofte gemaak het, het daar absoluut nog niks gebeur nie. So ek is bitter teleurgestel. So dit was wat hy daar gepraat het in die parlement. Hy spesifiek na Pieter Groenewald toe verwys en gesê ek en jy gaan die probleem saam oplos. En daar het net absoluut niks gebeur nie. En ek dink dis 'n baie swak show van hulle. En ek was eers 'n Makura fan, maar ek dink nee, nou moet hy in sy moerenloop vlieg.
I'm not a fan of any politician, to be honest. I mean, some of them maybe, but most of them not.
Ja,
But remember, they're politicians. Their goal is to buy votes. Did I say buy votes?
dit het baie duidelik, jy weet, uitgekom met veral die DA se laaste verkiesingsveld tog, want ek meen hulle het so met volktangs gepraat, ek meen hulle het hulle kop in hulle eie gat gehad en hulle vuiste alles sommer so deurmekaar. Jy weet nie eens waar die DA sit nie. Maar ek wil asseblief nie hierdie livestream oor die DA maak nie. Ek praat hopeloos te veel van hulle.
I also do, but I think that they're dead. But we can continue about talking about something else.
Ons kan so klein bietjie teruggaan na die ZICP toe. Dieselfde soos wat ek voel sosialisme veral blanket socialism is bitter sleg vir ons vir die algemeen. Voel ek blanket kapitalisme het dieselfde tipe negatiewe effek as sosialisme.
That's interesting. Okay, tell me more.
Die ding is, ek is nie 'n groot geskiedenis buff nie, maar veral hier gedurende die industriële revolusie het daar 'n tyd gekom dat die monopoly capitalists hulle het so baie mag gehad. Daar was kinders en vrouens en hele families wat tussen 12 en 18 ure op 'n dag gewerk het net basies om hulle self te voer, jy weet. So daar kom elites uit in hierdie kapitalistiese stelsel en hulle sit dan met die mag om mense so te kan exploit.
But you said, sorry, I want to just clarify something. You said they're capitalist with monopolies. Is that right? Okay, so this is the one issue that I think I want to challenge. And it's not about you, but I think people often tend to think that capitalists can have monopolies. You can't really have a monopoly as a capitalist. A monopoly, in essence, can only be provided through state protection.
Kyk,
do you agree with that?
Miskien was 'n monopoly dalk die verkeerde woord gewees. Vat byvoorbeeld wat in die rekenaarindustrie op die oomblik gebeur. Jy het twee groot spelers, jy het Microsoft en jy het Apple. Die res is bysaak. Ek bedoel hulle beheer die stelsel. As Microsoft besluit hulle gaan nou die standaard verander, dan verander die standaard en almal moet net saamspeel. En dieselfde met Apple ook.
Can I ask you a question?
Vra my vraag.
How did Microsoft get that big? Is it because they offered a great product that people bought? Did they force anybody to buy their product?
Nee, die mense seker maar uit hulle eie gekoop, né?
Okay, so then, isn't it then a case of Apple, who only, in the 90s had 3% of the market share? Isn't it because Apple had a product that people just didn't like?
Dit is baie moontlik, ja. Wel, dis hulle meer van die IBM produkte gehou.
I mean, look, Apple today are the biggest, what do you call them? A tech company. Hey, they're the biggest tech company in the world. So that whatever they did, they turned it right around. But they were clever. They found the gap in the market. They said, look, Microsoft has got us on the desktop, but where Microsoft isn't leading the way yet is on
mobile
this.
Platforms.
And Apple quickly found that gap and went for it. Now we see that Samsung's going for that gap and Huawei as well. Huawei, I never know how to pronounce their name. Huawei. We sound like we're a little bit Down syndrome. Huawei. But I mean, isn't that about offering a service or a product that's better than your competitor? It's an honest question. That's why I'm not trying to defend capitalism. I'm just asking, how did these guys get so big?
Ek verstaan daai heeltemal. Maar soos wat jy vroeër gepraat het van die Zulu byvoorbeeld wat nie 'n McDonald's binne in hulle area wil hê nie. Omdat hulle eie mense en hulle eie besighede wil beskerm. En ek voel ek wil graag meer neig aan dat gemeenskappe na hulle self kyk. En ek wil en dit pas nie heeltemal so lekker in by blanket capitalism veral op 'n nasionale skaal nie, jy weet.
Okay, so I am trolling you a little bit. I do agree with you. I don't think blanket capitalism is necessarily the greatest thing, but I do think that blanket capitalism is better than blanket socialism. Let's be honest.
Daar kan ons oor instem. Wel, ek het nou nog nie blanket capitalism regtig waar beleef nie, maar ek glo kan met jou saamstem daarso.
Because blanket capitalism would also mean that we're going to neglect traditions and perhaps culture. And I do believe that traditions and culture are important. So I'll draw the line at almost blanket capitalism, but I want to keep a nice spot there for traditions and values. Let me just quickly talk about that for a second. I wrote a blog post, and it's going to sound like I'm diverting, but I'm not. I wrote a blog post a few months ago about why I'm a nationalist, and that's a very unpopular thing to say. People equate nationalism with Adolf Hitler, and yes, he was a nationalist, and he was a very bad example of one. In fact, he was a terrible example of one. But there's nothing wrong with nationalism per se. Nationalism is human behavior; it's natural. And the best way to test that is to go overseas. All right, go on a 2-week holiday somewhere, and that's exactly what I did. My honeymoon was in France, and when I was there, I found myself uh, not on purpose. I just found naturally I wanted to experience all things French.
Ja.
I wanted to eat French food. I wanted to hear French people. I didn't want to see South Africans. I didn't want to see McDonald's. I didn't want to eat uh, um, Burger King. I wanted something that was uniquely French, and I wanted to see the towns that had uniquely French history.
Ja.
And I remember sitting on the airplane going back to South Africa thinking, why was that? I didn't even question it when I was there. And the reason is because I'm a nationalist. I respect the fact that people in different parts of the world identify with common denominators that make them a part of a group, and that group is a nationality of sorts. In this particular case, it was France, and yes, France has multiple nations within it, but I was there to experience as close as I could find the French experience, the local French experience. When people come to South Africa, they want to experience what's uniquely South African. And that in itself is quite complicated because we have multiple nations within South Africa. But that's also fine because people then go and search for Cook Sisters in Swellendam,
Ja.
if they want an Afrikaans experience, or they go look for Zulu dancing in
Kreef en
KZN.
snoek in die
Okay,
Weskus.
exactly. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's something that we should celebrate, not something we should be scared of. It doesn't mean that you are what's the word, prejudiced against others. It means that you are just very proud of what that is. I loved the French experience. I really did. I didn't want to experience Italian. You know what I mean? I
Ja.
wanted the baguettes, and I wanted the French cheese, and I wanted to hear the French music and the French cafes and all that kind of thing in Paris. It was wonderful. And that's nationalism in its most simplistic form. Now, coming back to what you were saying, I think it's very, very important that the best way, and it's not okay. I must apologize. It's not exactly what you were asking or talking about, but I'm kind of
Go
just
ahead.
I'm riffing a bit if
Go
you don't
ahead.
mind. But I think that is the best way that people can get on is if they stop trying to break down other people's cultures and heritages. Okay, I'd have no problem with any other culture. I have no problem with any other heritage. I have no problem with any other nationality. Uh, if Orania doesn't want me to live there, I won't live there.
Daai
Okay, it's that simple.
jammer man, ek het jou nog onderbreek. Maak my storie klaar.
Ja.
Die as
Nee, nee, nee.
ek het die vir die Joost ouetjie gesin luister. Dit is mooi aandagtig toe jy 'n livestream gehad het. En dit wil
Ja.
vir my voorkom asof Oranje self weet ook nie presies wat is die definisie van 'n Afrikaner nie. En hulle benadering is gaan vra eers vir die persoon self soos wat aansoek doen by Oranje is. Dink jy sal kan inpas hierso? Want die groot idee van Oranje,
I don't think I
die
can.
groot idee van Oranje is dat hulle wil mense met eensgesindheid wil hulle graag in die dorp hê. Nou Ernst Roots het nou die dag hy's besig om 'n boek te lees van Flip Buys. Nou Flip Buys is die hoof van Solidariteit. So
Ja, he's very smart.
Hy's basies die groot kahuna oor ek weet nou nie hoe alles gekoppel is nie, maar ek glo hy het sy stem is groot binne die Vryheidsfront Plus en die Oranje beweging en Afriforum, jy weet daai hele kaboel. Kom ons noem dit die Afrikaner Illuminati. Maar Flip Buys onder homself soos hy is pas mos nou om die groot kahuna Afrikaner te wees, maar tot hy het sy definisie vir 'n Afrikaner is iemand wat homself met die geskiedenis en die kultuur van Afrikaner wees vereenselwig. Wat nie baie duidelik is nie, jy weet, dis baie broad terms. Dis hoekom ek nou ook wil terugkom. Ons het net 'n vraag gevra en jy het gesê Jy wil 'n bietjie tyd hê, maar gaan dit op hierdie livestream wees of eerder op 'n ander livestream?
Oh no, on the live stream, yeah. I just wanted to think about it for just more than 20
Die
seconds.
konsep van 'n Anglo-Afrikaner.
You know, I don't know, Klipkop. I don't know. I like what you said about the sub. I want to say subculture, but it's not what you said, is it? You didn't say subculture.
Dit is nie presies 'n subculture nie, but it's because I lack a better word for it. It's like a
yeah. I've never thought of it, and I actually think that you've got a very good point. And I want to think about it even after the stream. I'm gonna chat to some of my Afrikaans friends about it. I honestly think that what you're saying there is a really, really interesting idea, that there is a breakdown of Afrikaners or Afrikaans culture within Afrikaans. I mean, I'm not Afrikaans, but I probably slot into one of those sub cultures that you might be referencing. I don't know. It's a very interesting thought. And I don't have enough time right now in the stream to think about it, but I'm going to think about it over the next few weeks, definitely. And I think I want to get you onto my show so we can chat about it.
I'm available any day, any time. Just like mum the word, like I will be on.
You just can't wear a Nirvana shirt.
What should I wear then? A Buffelsfontein Brannaman shirt.
There we go. Now we're talking. No, well, actually, since you made a video about me being a Brit, you must be something. You must be something very Buddha.
The thing is, years ago, like my mom saved my old little voortrekker kleertjies. It had the beret and everything, and like I was like super liberal in my mid-20s, and I literally.
Why does that happen? Hey, why do we all become more conservative? But sorry, carry on.
And I chucked it into the bin. And I really regret it now. I think it would be fucking awesome if I was sitting here with my little original voortrekker beret that I wore when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. I think that would have been awesome.
Exactly. And also, what do you call the thing? The squash box? What do they call it? That plays music?
Squash box that plays music? Oh, die trekklavier.
Ja, that's it.
Trekklavier in die concertina.
Ja, Constantine, there we go. What's that song? Boere Pompie.
Ja, dis hy.
Maar dis lekker.
Kyk eens, ek weet Swerm J het nou al 'n paar keer gevra. Kan jy nie net soos 'n probeer vir 2 minute 'n bietjie, so weet, gesels in Afrikaans. Die ding is, jy is nou dik in hier by AfriForum en Oranje en al die mense wat ook al in
die probleem Klipkop is my Afrikaans is baie kak. Ek kan dit heeltemal verstaan. Maar ek praat dit nie baie goed nie. En
hoekom as jy Afrikaans praat, dit wil vir my voorkom asof jy meer mens is dan?
Meer mens? In what sense? In wat beteken jy?
Ek is besig om my kak uit jou uit te trol. Moenie worry nie. Maar
speaking of which, what is this English or Afrikaans? A ukulele?
That might be Hawaiian, for all we know,
Oh, Hawaiian.
I have no idea.
Neither. Well, I've already got a dark skin, so ek is heeltemal nee, ek is nie heeltemal daar nie, maar almost.
Kom ons check gou so 'n paar comments, want ek het nou nie meer nog vra nie. As enigiemand in die comments vra het vir
Yeah, sorry, there were some great comments. Let me say, I actually reckon many English-speaking South Africans are more Afrikaner than European English. And you know what? I think he's right. But that ties into what you were saying earlier about that sort of Afrikaans subculture. You know what? I think that you've hit a gold mine there. I'm going to really think about that. I honestly think Bubble Pitt is correct there when he says that many English-speaking South Africans are more Afrikaner. And it's very true because, remember, and this is a very controversial thing I'm about to say, but I don't think English white South Africans have a strong culture at all. I think that's why we are called Soutpila. because we're halfway between England and South Africa and are very quick to run. You know, when you know what hits the
Ja.
fan. Um, so that geskiedenis, that history of English culture in South Africa is disconnected from Britain and disconnected from Afrikaans history, if that makes
Ja.
sense. So we kind of like are hovering somewhere in between, and so we kind of move around depending on our worldview. And you'll probably agree with me if I say that a lot of white South Africans who are in Cape Town will find themselves to be more liberal or left-leaning than conservative or
Most
right-leaning.
definitely.
Now, yeah, but that's a Cape Town thing, not necessarily a South African thing. I mean, a white thing. It's definitely a South
Ja.
African thing. But I still think that it has to do with history. You know, the British history in South Africa is very bad.
Ja.
I mean, with the concentration camps, etc., and we don't have to go down that road. It's a
Well,
very deep,
we could if you
dark
want to.
talking point. Not really, because I mean, everyone knows the history. We all know that the British were cruel sons of
Ja, ja,
bitches.
ja.
Um, but remember something: I'm not British. I haven't stolen land, and neither have you. And this is a very important thing that people have forgotten in today's society. In today's society, there's this leftist mentality that the individual no longer matters. What matters is the collective. So you're Afrikaans and you're white, therefore you're evil. You're English and white, and you also evil, but not quite as evil as the Afrikaner and white. And you must now pay for the sins of your forefathers. It's an unbelievably dangerous, slippery slope to be on, but it's a battle that I think we need to fight, and we need to fight it very hard. It's part of what I call the culture war. Actually, I don't call it the culture war. That term was not coined by me, but very few people use that term, and I think we need to use that term more because it is exactly what's going on. This isn't about politics; it's about culture.
Ja, kom ons kyk vir enige comments. Ek het laaste Mr. E at Klipkop, my name is Germ. If anyone says Afrikaans doesn't belong in Africa, I always say name one other language with the word Africa in its title. Valid.
All right, let me just say this quickly on that topic about the language. So I don't know if you've been following my cartoons or my tweets over the last 2 years or year and a half. I've been very much in favor of multiple language universities and education. I do not believe in English being the only language to use. I honestly think that people should be able to be educated in the language they're most comfortable in. They shouldn't be forced to learn in English. I mean, that's exactly what the Soweto uprising was about. It was about the language policy. And today we have the same thing, where the language policy is English only, yet the Constitution speaks about having 11 official languages. And it even says that you should be legally allowed to be taught in a language, or at least in your mother tongue, or the language you're most comfortable in. Yet, for some weird reason, the leftist mentality is to push for English only. English isn't even African. And they go, yes, but it's the language of business. No, it isn't. Asia does not speak English as its business language, and neither does Europe, neither does South America. English is the fourth largest language in the world.
Ek wil heeltemal met jou saamstem. Die probleem wat veral met Bantu education gebeur het en tot wat ons nou sien is dat die inheemse swart tale is nie akademiese tale nie, want ek meen akademiese
but that's not your problem.
Akademiese kom meer van die westerse lande af. Nou wat ek graag sou wou gesien het is dat ons die ander inheemse tale, jy weet, meer ontwikkel sodat dit ook op dieselfde vlak is waar mense actually waar kinders van mense kan universiteit toe stuur, jy weet, dat die taal op 'n hoë vlak kan presteer, maar dis asof hulle besef niemand gaan actually die moeite doen om dit actually deur te dring nie. So wat is die ander opsie? Ons almal moet nou assimileer Engels toe. En soos wat jy gesê het, ons almal is cool met ons assimileer Engels toe, maar ons moet Afrikaans uitgooi. So, ek verstaan dit net nie.
No, of course not. No, of course not. It must be organic. Listen, you and I are speaking two different languages, but we understand each other perfectly.
Dit is ook waar, maar 'n ander ding waar net aan wou geraak het is, byvoorbeeld toe jy op die show gekom het, toe was jy soos 'n wat gaan jy Afrikaans met my praat? Dis amper asof soos 'n jy het regtig waar soos 'n is jy nou ernstig doen soos 'n gaan jy Afrikaans praat? So ja, ek gaan fucking Afrikaans praat. Want so omdat Engels my tweede taal is
ja, en Afrikaans is my tweede
taal. Is ek dadelik op die agtervoet. So in enige gesprek waarin ek intree, die persoon wat sy eerste taal Engels is, gaan die opperhand hê. En ek voel dit is so 'n klein bietjie onregverdig. En ek voel dit is my kanaal en hier kan ek die reëls maak. Maar ek gaan nou nie 'n complete doos wees en vir jou sê jy mag nie Engels praat nie, want ek verstaan dit heeltemal. 'n Mens is net meer gemaklik om te gesels in jou moedertaal.
Ek stem heeltemal saam.
Kyk so,
but I mean, this conversation's working perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is what I'm talking about. So why must students be forced to learn or speak in English? It makes no sense to me. And that's why I 100% support what Solidarity is doing with the building of the schools and the universities. 100%. And you know what? Lesufi can get as upset as he wants. We all know why he's upset. He hates the fact that Afrikaners are moving forward.
En die staat nie.
Ja, exactly.
Ons is nou al vir 'n bietjie meer as 'n uur aan die gang. Ek dink ons gaan afsluit met een laaste comment. Ons het vir Chad Blighnout
Listen, I'm not in a rush. If you want to hang around for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm fine with that.
Die ding is ek het absoluut ek probeer nou, jy weet, vrae uitsuig. So ek gaan nou hierdie een van Chad Blighnout spot.
Okay.
Hy is my nommer 1 Anglo-Afrikaner ondersteuner. Maar Chad vra, if they wanted to take down the Voortrekker monument, how would either of you react? Ek dink ek gaan sommer
I would protest it immediately.
Okay, take the stage. Why?
Because it is an incredibly important symbol of Afrikaner history and heritage. I will fly to Pretoria or Centurion. I know it's somewhere halfway between the two. And I will fly there and I'll be part of the protests to stop it from being taken down, without a doubt. It is an incredibly important piece of history. Removing it does not take away the history at all. The history will still be there. It will be a superficial. It'll be a superficial victory to, in my opinion, the bourgeois left and the racist socialists, communists even, dare I say it. But I honestly will be at the forefront of that battle to not let it go down. And you know what? I'll do the same for Shaka Zulu. If there is some massive protest about a statue of his in KZN or the airport being renamed now, because I know it's called Shaka Zulu International, I think it is. I believe that it must remain as it is. Shaka Zulu is a very important figure in Zulu history. Mm-hmm. And even though Shaka himself was a tyrant, he's still nevertheless important. And it's not my place to try and remove his mark from the history books. You know what I mean? So I'm a very big fan. And in fact, I've been to the Voortrekker Monument. I think everybody should go there. It's an incredible piece of history. It's very impressive as South African architecture goes. And it's got a wonderful, wonderful story. I particularly love the part of it where they show the brutal murder of a kid, and I think that particular panel was removed to become more politically correct. I mean, that's very interesting and very sensitive on their part.
Ek het nou nie eens daarvan geweet nie. Die ding is op
Yeah, it's at the bottom. You can go see it and you can read about it. It's right at the very bottom.
Op die klein flyertjie wat ek gemaak het vir hierdie YouTube vir hierdie livestream, het ek aan jou kant die Union Jack gesit en aan my kant het ek die 4 kilo gesit. Maar dit was so 'n klein bietjie, jy weet, dishonest geweest van my kant af. Want
Ja.
ek is nie 'n Vrystater of 'n Transvaalse Republiek persoon nie. So,
And I'm not
my
British.
voorvaders was nie van daar af gewees nie, jy weet. Dit was nou net om die besigheid 'n bietjie op te hype, maar dit stem nou mooi in een wat hy vra oor die Voortrekker Monument. Want die Voortrekker Monument is meer 'n gedenkteken van die boere wat getrek het daartoe. Ek bedoel, ons hensoppers hier in die Kaap, ons het hierso gebly. Ek bedoel, ons het gesê, okay, die Brits kom vat nou oor. Okay, fine, ons het nou nuwe heersers. Los ons net fucking uit, jy weet. Ons worry nie wat julle maak nie. Maar dit is 'n gedenkteken van die boere hulle self. Nou maar ek sien ek gaan nou lekker rassisties wees. Ek sien die Kaapse Afrikaner sien ek as my broers en my susters, my ma's en my pa's. En die Transvaalse Afrikaner sien ek as my niggies en my neefies en my ooms en my tannies. Verstaan ons nou, hulle is nog steeds super close aan my, maar ek trek definitief 'n definisie tussen die twee, want as ek met 'n Afrikaner praat, ek kan vir jou met redelike akkuraatheid sê, nadat ek so 2-3 minute met hom gepraat het, kan ek vir jou sê of hy identifiseer as 'n boer of as 'n Afrikaner. En ek weet nou nie presies om vir jou te sê exactly wat daar spesifieke, maar ek kan dit so half sens, en dit is hoekom ek sê wat ek sê. Maar nog steeds, as hulle besluit om die Voortrekker Monument, jy weet, af te haal, so ek sal loop, wat se boek is daai? Bloedrivier. As hulle ooit besluit om jy weet die taalmonument plat te maak, ek dink ek sal sê fok hierdie identiteit van Kaapse Afrikaner en die boere Afrikaner. Hierdie kak gaan nie fly nie, my broers. Dit is regtig waar. Dit is amper soos asof jy die burial shroud van Jesus gaan loop verbrand, jy weet. Dis regtig waar.
Yeah, but that's what I was telling you. That's what I'm saying, and I'm not even of regards. And I understand that, and I appreciate that.
Dit sal my pissed off genoeg maak, ja.
Yeah, but I think every sane or rational person would agree with you. And you know, there's nothing racist about the Voortrekker Monument. Okay, history is history. It's what it is. Okay, things happened. All we can do is we can make the best of our situation now and today. And to move forward. The problem is, though, is that someone said in the comments that leftism is I think, virus or disease, and I 100% agree with that. I've got a very different view of what left and right politics is. It's very difficult to explain, and so I don't really talk about it that often. Have I lost my video?
Is daar fout?
Oh, there, I'm back. Yeah, sorry, I went black there for a second. I think that was a little bit racist of you.
OBS.
I've got a very complicated view of left and right politics, and I don't know if we've got enough time for me to go into that. But I see it as in a somewhat different way to what I think most people see it. So when I talk about left and right, I generally we're on the same page, but it gets, as I said, it gets quite complicated because I view leftism as very, very evil, as very bad, as morally wrong, as everything that we should oppose, I think, generally speaking, sits on the left. And I think that, again, without explaining the context, I do think that everything that's on the right is something that we need to reclaim. But when I say on the right, I don't mean Eugene Blanche or Hitler. That's obviously not what I mean. Yeah. I mean it in a very different sort of philosophical sense. Maybe we can chat about it on another stream, though. But in a nutshell, left would essentially mean liberalism and progress, and the right would essentially mean to conserve and to counter that progress. Yeah. And already on the face of it, you would go, oh, I think progress is a good thing. So I don't agree with you, and that's where it gets complicated, and that's why it's a whole different discussion on its own. But it's something that I can talk about for a very, very long time.
Ek het nou al bitter baie lank aan die toffee gekou, en daar was 'n stadium gewees wat ek gedink het, okay, ek verstaan nou duidelik wat is die verskil tussen leftism en liberalism. Maar soos wat ek
No, they're very
Maar
much the
soos dit
same.
aangegaan het, the water got muddied again and not so clear anymore. Maar ek sê jou wat, ek is besig om my Discord server te show. Ons het na laasweek se livestream het ons lekker gesels met Wotan van die No Script Show en so aan. As jy wil ons graag kom join, so ek probeer altyd dat die ouens at least weet 15 minute saam met die kykers kan kom gesels. Ek gaan nou die link post hierso. Die link is in die chat. En as jy graag wil join, dit sal baie cool wees. Ek is seker die mense het baie vrae van jou en daar kom nog steeds vrae in. Die stream is nog 'n bietjie meer as 'n uur aan die gang. Ek dink ek gaan dit hierso kort knip. Hoorie so Jeremy, baie dankie dat jy saam met my kom gesels het en my aggressiewe houding, jy weet, soos 'n proper moerryde aangevat het.
It was a great pleasure speaking to you. I'm going to have you on my stream. Don't worry about it. We're gonna catch up soon. But by the way, on a more personal level, I'm going to come and find you in Langebaan soon.
Was that your personal question of earlier or not?
Yeah, I wanted to know where you were, but since you already said it, it doesn't matter now. But I'm gonna get your personal details afterwards. So because I want to contact you.
I'm not skating that way. So I'm probably going to see you in the Discord server for a few minutes. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Thank you very much for all the viewers who tuned in, and I'll probably see you Sunday night for the after party. And I don't know, like Ronaldo, cheers and peace out.
Ciao.